Group projects. Yeah, they suck. How would anybody enjoy a group project unless they're with their friends? And 9 times out of 10 for a group project, you never end up with your friends. And the teacher is preying on your downfall and always puts you with complete randoms. So it is all based on chance whether or not you're gonna do well on this project. Because if you get put with a shitty ass group, it's over. You're definitely not passing this project. And also, what's crazy is that these group projects end up being like 70% of your total grade. So depending on the results of these group projects, you might not even pass the class to begin with. And some of you might be like, oh, it's really not that bad. Yes, it is. It is this bad. If you get a shitty ass group, of course. And now for my first year of college, you know, I wasn't exactly ready for what was about to happen. Every single class I was in had a group project. I'm not even kidding. And for some of them, the group project extended throughout the entire semester. And of course, at this point, I didn't have time for all that shit. I had YouTube videos to make. And now one of my group projects, I had what's called a freeloader. If you don't know what a freeloader is, it's pretty much somebody that gets carried. Why did this professor give somebody a similar grade when they got carried? Like, me and the rest of my group members put in the work for this project, and this person just sat back and did nothing. And all they did is made one shitty ass Google slide. Like, wow, bro, you're putting in work. And I don't even think they were there on the presentation day. So me, I had to present this person's slide, and I had to explain to the class, this was not my slide, all right? This was somebody else's assignment that did a shitty ass job with it. And I didn't want my final grade to suck just because he couldn't put in the work. So there I was, sweating my ass off, presenting in front of the class. I don't remember the exact topic, but it had something to do with economics. Yeah, the economy is, like, it was over. Like, I couldn't even fucking form a sentence. And of course, at the end of the presentation, my teacher says this to me.
I just have a few questions. Burdie, could you please elaborate on this subject matter you were speaking about?
And then I was just having an existential crisis in my head. I'm like, what the hell do I do now? Like, what do I even say to this dude? I don't know. I sat awkwardly there for 10 seconds, and then I just told this dude I didn't know. Like, what else am I supposed to do in that situation? Because I'm not exactly an economics expert. And do I look like I study? Fuck no. So I was definitely not getting the answer. And I fumbled for my team. Like, I think the grade went down like 5 points just because I couldn't answer that question. And then when I saw the grades came in for that project, I opened it, and surprisingly, I got an 80. I was just blown away by that. How the does that even work? At that point, I'll just take whatever I can get. You know, it's better than failing. You know, I'm not exactly striving for A's. I didn't even want to go to college in the first place. But you know what's even worse? When every single person in your group goes ghost on you. And this happened to me last year before I decided to leave college. And now when you're doing a group project, you know, you're supposed to be in this together. And of course, that didn't happen. And now when I noticed that my group rarely showed up to class, I already knew it was game, bro. I'm definitely gonna have to do this shit by myself. So there I was, like the first 3 classes we were supposed to work on this shit, just completely perplexed, and at this point, just not even knowing where to begin. And as the due date got closer and closer, I just thought, you know what? Half-assing the entire project is my best bet, because my group is just not even showing up. So I did a half-ass job at almost every slide, and then I emailed my group and say, yo, this is due in like a week. We gotta lock in. Or actually, let me rephrase that. I was perfectly locked in, doing a half-ass job at all these slides. My group is still has yet to touch the slideshow at all. At this point, like 3 or 4 days has passed. I was starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, all right, let me email the professor. And then finally, some miracle, I don't know if the professor talked to them, but on the last day, my entire group emailed me back and was like, oh, sorry for the late response. Like, there's no damn time to apologize, bro. Get on the project and do your slide. So I'm just sitting there looking at this Google slideshow to see if anything changes. It's like watching paint dry. I'm sitting there waiting for the rest of the group to do slides or add something to slides at least. But thankfully, one of my group members actually locked in. And then the day of the presentation came, all right? We were all up there. We all looked stupid as hell. Because one, I did a half-ass job because I thought to myself, I have shit to do. You know, I'm not the only one that should be doing this. And 3 of the people in the group literally just read off the slides I wrote. And some of you might be like, what's the problem with that? Well, you see, my slides were just a couple bullet points. Not a whole paragraph long. The whole point of that was to not make the presentation look clunky as hell. So I made note cards for myself because I planned on doing the whole presentation myself before my group reached out to me last minute. When I was working on these group projects, I was always listening to music. And of course, when I listen to music, I gotta make sure the sound is really quality. And that's why the sponsor of today's video, Raycon, is here to clutch up. So recently, Raycon sent me their everyday earbuds. And they also sent me this really cool case to go with it. It comes in a variety of different styles. And of course, I had to pick the ocean one because I love the beach. And music is a big part of my life. So I was really eager to try these. One of my favorite features Raycons have is the active noise cancellation. I gotta use these on flights. Baby starts crying, tap the right earbud to activate it, and boom, just like that, the noise is gone. And they also have a 32-hour battery life, so I won't have to worry about them dying mid-flight. And I love the ergonomic design of these because these earbuds actually stay in your ear, and they're also really comfortable. So I've been using these while editing, walking, working out. Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, but Raycons start at just half the price of other brands. So already you're getting a good deal before you even take into account their Black Friday Cyber Monday deal, where their products are up to 30% off. Go to buyraycon.com/Burdie to save up to 30% off on all their products this Black Friday/Cyber Monday. And if you decide to get a pair, it really helps support the channel. Thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring today's video. So again, I looked stupid as hell up there, and we got our grade back, and it was a 75. We passed somehow. And of course, since I'm not the type to wait last minute to do something, you know, I'm getting on this video like a month before I gotta post it. I switched groups, and thankfully my next group was much better. I didn't have to carry or anything like that, thank God, because I really don't think I should be the one carrying the group. You've all seen my videos. You know what kind of stupid ass shenanigans I've gone up to, so I'm not exactly the brightest bulb. And of course, in this next group project that I did, it wasn't my group that was the problem. No, like my group was fine. You know, we got the work done, but it was the topic. This topic was fucking shitty. I don't know why the hell this was even a project. I dreaded doing it so much, but regardless, I was stuck doing it. And now this was like a literature type of class. Like this shit was already asked to begin with. This guy was like, okay, all right, I do. Everybody got their groups. Like he was way too enthusiastic about this group project. And of course, he had to use the little popsicle sticks to draw names. Most teachers don't even let you pick your own groups, but I mean, this didn't make much of a difference for me. I knew nobody in any of my classes. I just thought to myself, regardless, it's gonna be a hit or miss. And now that we have our groups and, you know, we have our topic and we're all ready to go, the teacher explained that for the entire class, we have to talk about this subject. So for the whole hour-long block, we gotta lock in and talk about this. My only reasoning as to maybe why he would do this is probably because he wanted us to do his job for him. I don't know. The presentation did not have to be an hour long. Plus, no one's listening anyway. Like, who is even listening to these damn presentations? Now, just imagine, like, a very boring topic. Something along the lines of the influence of the Cheeto Puff on the United States. I don't know. And also, who is picking these topics, dude? Like, they're always so ass. And of course, when I get up there to present, we did not fill the required time. So, we just had to sit there awkwardly for the next 10 minutes and just hope that people ask questions. And he had to make sure we used every single minute. Like, we couldn't even leave like a minute early, 2 minutes early. Nope. But what every group did to milk time was play like super long videos. And tell me not, this is a cheat code for presentations that you gotta fill time. But some teachers are like, well, videos don't count towards allotted time. And well, that's when you're cooked. You know, you can't really do too much about that. Kind of just have to suck it up, pause, and just hope that somebody in your group just knows how to talk minutes at a time. And that person was not gonna be me. Believe it or not, I am really shitty at public speaking. I just get really nervous up there. You know, it's different because on the mic, you know, I can make corrections and shit like that. When I have a voice crack, I can't exactly cut it out. Jesus Christ, that was bad. So any presentation, any speech, I'm butchering it. But my worst group project by far was in this research class. And I don't think it had anything to do with my group at all. It was just the class. It was terrible. I hated it. Literally everybody in the class hated it. It was one of those classes where you get points off for the smallest mistakes. And of course, unless you were in a in hospital bed, you had to go to class every single day, or else it was points deducted off your grade. Like, why do teachers even do that? Bro, it's college. Why are you still taking attendance? Like, it shouldn't be that deep if you miss like a class or two here and there. And the research paper totaled out to be like 50 pages by the end. And on top of that class, we also had to study material about how to do research. So it was like taking 2 classes pretty much. I don't know how these teachers expect me to do all this shit. They act like I don't have a life outside of school. Like, I'm trying to get videos done, bro. I'm not trying to be stuck doing homework and group projects all night. And by time we were at the second half of the project, my grade in the class was a 40. So it wasn't exactly looking too good for me. And so did the rest of my group. And my group asked around, I asked other people, and they said their grades sucked ass too. And unless everybody clutched up on this paper, everyone was going to fail the class. And we also had like tests on the material that I somehow passed. But of course, this group project though, it was worth like 90% of our grade, 80% of our grade. And now originally for this project, the professor was gonna have us present our research to a panel of experts. And I thought it was over. I'm like, we're done. Like, there's no way we're passing. And with the craziest stroke of luck, like you think I won the fucking lottery or something, the presentation got canceled. And all we had to do was clutch up on this paper because everybody was behind. Wow, I can't imagine why. It's almost like everybody's failing the class. And by the time we were all done with this paper, we were all exhausted. Like, we just wanted to just be done with this stupid ass class. We turn it in and then the grades come back and I got an 80 on the paper. And with everything totaled out, I got a 75 in the class. And that was that. I did it. I passed. I don't know how the fuck I went from a 40% to 78. What a comeback story just for me to drop out a semester later. Roasting. An art form that has been around for so long. Years have passed and people are still getting cooked. Now roasting, it's just all fun and games. It's jokes between you and your friends. But sometimes you're the main target and you're the only one that's getting roasted. And that's why getting roasted can be so painful sometimes. You're the only one getting fried. And it's like no matter what you do, people are going to be on your head for it. Say you're having a bad hair day. You pull up to the facility. You got like a few pieces of hair sticking up. But that doesn't matter. People are going to say you look like Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. And I'm thinking my own parents would get on my head and say this to me. And I've been roasted so much in my day-to-day life that I'm like, you know what? I just learned to embrace it at this point. People are going to roast you. It is what it is. Like 95% of the time, people are joking. But sometimes people really mean that shit. And I just sit there and think to myself, damn, my eyes really that far apart? Am I walking around looking like Sid the Sloth? And I take a good hard look at myself in the mirror. I put a ruler up to my eyes just to make sure. No, I'm just kidding. But back in the day and even now, there are a lot of things that I still get cooked for. Now, I hated having short hair, but my parents made me get it cut really short. But there was this one time where my dad was just like, you know what? You got a garbage haircut. I don't know what the hell they did to your head. We're shaving it off. So they sat me down in the kitchen. I got a chair out of the basement and my head was completely shaved. And you can only imagine the roasts that were headed in my direction. I mean, granted, they were like elementary school roasts. My friends were just calling me Baldy as my hair follicles were non-existent. And when all my friends came over, it was so bad that I wore a hat in the pool. I wore a hat almost everywhere. And now I'm probably going to get punished for it to this day. I'm just going to start balding at the age of 21. But when my hair finally grew back, I had the courage to take my hat off. But of course, as you could imagine, that had a very distinct and disgusting smell. But me and my hat, you know what? We conquered the world through thick and thin. We were really locked in like that. But another thing people would get roasted for back in the day is having a crush. If you had a crush, everybody was going to get on your head for it. People would sing a whole song just to roast you. But no matter what, the FBI would have had to confront me to get that information out of me. I wasn't telling anybody. People would try to interrogate me, and it was at the most random times too. We could have been sitting there playing Pokemon cards. You have a crush, spill the beans. I know you do. Okay, that was over dramatic. You get the point. Having a crush was a big deal. So what I did instead is I would join in on roasting the people that did have a crush. There was this one time where my friend was on the phone with his crush, and we were all in an Xbox party with him, and we played the most edgy and offensive memes that we could possibly think of, and his crush got mad and hung up the phone. Yeah, bro, we were some assholes for that, I'm not gonna lie, but it's kind of funny looking back on it. Like, look, if I was gonna get roasted, I had to participate myself from time to time. Another big thing that people would get roasted for was their hairline. And the big thing when I was like 13 was, quote, "You have a McDonald's hairline. Your hairline looked like Vegeta's. Well, get ready to get cooked." And people that I went to school with or people I did sports with would do what's called, quote, "a hairline check." And what this was is people would go up to you and ask to see your hairline. They would demand to see your hairline. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't a McDonald's hairline. This dude went up to me 3 times in 1 year just to make sure that my hairline didn't just magically change overnight. And oh my God, forget it. If you had a McDonald's hairline, yeah, see, I was friends with this one kid who did have one. This dude got called Ronald McDonald every day of his life. Now, thankfully, I was safe from that one. But a couple years later, there was a joke that was going around that if you were the quiet kid, you just got a strap tucked in your backpack ready to go. And I was the main target of this joke. And still to this day, I get cooked for it sometimes. I just don't really talk unless I have something of importance to say. I know I do this whole YouTube thing, but in real life, it's a lot different for me. So yeah, I've heard every school shooter joke under the sun.
Guys, he's reaching in his backpack. Oh my God.
And they were just expecting me to just pull out an AR-15 in GTA YouTube, not in real life. And it didn't help at all that I would wear a hoodie and I would just put my hands in my hood pocket. At that point, I was just asking to be roasted. And I had this emo-ass haircut in middle school. And of course, yeah, my fits were not up to par either. I was repping a Pokemon backpack and I wore the same Pokemon and Mario t-shirts every day. And in middle school, I was the neon kid. Like, I had every color of traffic cone that you could imagine. I would walk in and just flashbang people with how bright these damn colors were. And I would wear sweatpants that were years old, bro. They had holes in them. They were dusty as hell. And you know, I wasn't exactly a fashion connoisseur over here. Like, you could have stuck my ass on the runway with how goofy my outfits were. There was this one time I got made fun of for having a Pokemon backpack, and I cried about it all day. And even when I got off the bus and school was over, I was mad about it. I was telling my mom about it. Like, at that point, school's over. Who fucking cares anymore? So what if your Pokemon backpack got made fun of? And of course, we can't forget this one. If you get no girls, you're getting cooked. This one's really prevalent in high school and college. In my experience at middle school, nobody really cared about that. But oh my God, I got clowned beyond belief. When I was just entering college, end of high school, the whole no bitches thing became a meme. So you already know at the roast sessions, I was front and center of that one as well. And anytime I would try to say something back, all they had to do was say, "You know what's crazy? I might need to find my hairline. But you need to find some bit," and everybody was on the floor dead. It was over. And where these roast sessions would take place is usually at the cafeteria table or just in a circle with your friends, either outside of school or where you're hanging out, whatever. And never do you want to be in the center of a roast circle. That's like asking to get cooked. Or sometimes people would have rap battles against each other and people in the crowd would make a beat. Crazy times, but I was not getting involved. But another thing you don't want to do is laugh. You never want to laugh because the person that's getting roasted is going to be like, "I know I didn't just hear you laugh." And they're just going to start frying you. And obviously you don't want that to happen. You want them to just keep roasting each other back and forth. Getting involved sometimes is a death sentence, especially if you know that dude is good at roasting. There are a lot of times where people got on my head for laughing. So I just decided not saying anything at all was probably the best option. But if you decide to go head to head in a roast battle with somebody, these are different people that you will see in a roast battle. The dude that just takes it too far. Like, somebody could say your head looks like an egg, bro. You look like Andrew Tate. And this dude will come out of the woodworks and say, "That's why your mom tragically passed away in a car crash." Like, damn, dude, you needed to bring his mom into it. What the fuck? Like, that's just too far. Like, it's just friendly banter back and forth. And at that point, the vibe is killed. That probably just hurt his feelings. So everybody's like, damn, that was fucked up. But this kid has no remorse. It doesn't matter to him. He just wants to win the roast battle. The instigator. There's always that one dude that says, "Personally, bro, I wouldn't take that disrespect." And they start escalating the beef between you and this other person. They're just trying to sit there, chill with a bucket of popcorn as you get torn to shreds by this other person. And now I had an instigator in my friend group. And bro, I'm not trying to get involved, so I hated when people would do this. Like, I'm just trying to be a spectator. Leave me alone. I'm trying to be on the bench. Like, if you want me to get involved so bad, bro, why don't you get involved yourself? But then there's the kid that gets violent. Like, he takes it so personally that he just decides to throw some punches. I didn't know it was that serious to the point where he had to get up and just start throwing haymakers at this random dude. Or this dude cannot handle being roasted. He needs to win somehow. And I guess he thinks him throwing punches and just beating this kid up for no reason is gonna get him the win. But in reality, it's only gonna make you look worse. It's different if it gets like very disrespectful. Obviously, I'm not letting that shit slide. But if it's something like you look like an egg, just let it go, bro. It's not that deep at all. There's always going to be the one person who gets insane information. I don't know how they get it. I don't know where they get it from. But they just happen to know everything about you. They might be watching you at night. You got to be careful. This person is your #1 stalker, so you don't want to even try going up against them in a roast battle. They just dig up the most cryptic piece of information that nobody knew about, and it's over for you. There's no coming back at that point. People will bring up that you were that one dude that pooped himself in middle school in another state, and you moved here just to avoid the embarrassment. Like, that has gotta cut deep. And then we got the dude that tries to roast you in front of the girls. There's always that guy that wants to make you the laughing stock in front of all the girls. I'm sure a lot of people experience this one, and oh, I for sure did. I was in college at this time, and I was in the room with a bunch of people, right? And then these two random dudes walk in. There was a few girls there, and of course, they say hi to the girls, obviously, and they start talking to them, and they want to have this crazy game. Now, I was on my phone at the home screen at this point. I put down my phone because I didn't want to be rude when they came in. And because I put my phone down, they thought I was trying to hide X-rated videos or some shit. First of all, fuck that shit. It's terrible for you. And second of all, why would I even watch it in front of people? And keep in mind, I didn't know these people at all. And they were saying like I was trying to hide a boner or some shit. And then they just walked out the room laughing and left. And they just went back to doing whatever the hell they were doing. I was just confused as hell and nobody really cared. Roast battles, roast sessions, getting roasted. It was a lot of the reason why I was the quiet kid. If you want to watch my fails and struggles as the quiet kid, then click on this video. Ranking every subject in school. As somebody like myself who is an academic weapon when it comes to cheating in school, so I would say I'm pretty qualified to rank all of these subjects, starting from the best going all the way to the worst. And the best one we gotta start with is lunch. I already know I'm getting people in the comments, well, technically lunch is not a... You can't forget lunch, bro. You can't diss lunch. I guess the only thing that's really bad about it is the food. But you actually get to talk to your homies. There's roast battles. There's rap battles. What's not to love about lunch? I don't care if it's a subject or not. It's the best thing on this list. I mean, compared to everything else on this list that's a class, obviously this is the best thing we're getting. Next up, we got gym. Now, you obviously knew this was going to be in second place. Gym is just too goated compared to the other classes. I guess the only con about gym is that sometimes you don't want to do this shit at 7 in the morning, bro. That's a little bit much. And some of the activities suck, like the pacer test. Everybody's trying to play sports or a fun game or something like that. There's some sports that I'm not really a big fan of, like soccer, hockey. I didn't particularly like those days, but it was better than the goddamn pacer test. Sometimes the worst part about gym is when that taco or burrito day is hitting your stomach right after lunch. Like, I'm over here feeling like I ate a gordita crunch from Taco Bell. Somebody hits me with one dodgeball, a truckload of shit is flying out of my pants, dude. But obviously, some of the best moments of gym class outweigh this by a ton. The gym scooters, that big-ass parachute, and dodgeball, man. That's when gym class was in its prime. But I think, you know, when it comes to gym class, we gotta talk about the gym sweats. Bro, you are not getting drafted to the NFL because you got 6 touchdowns in a gym football game. Pipe the down, dude. I'm sure every NFL scout is cool off watching a gym football game. Study hall. But actually, study hall is... I didn't ask for your opinion, dude. Shut the... Study hall is so goated. You can literally just sit down, do homework if you want, just get that shit out the way, play games, or hell, you could just sleep if you wanted to. That's what I would do most of my time in study hall. But believe me, bro, I was locked in on cool math games like crazy. I was playing Run, Ducks Life, the Papa's games. Oh, and you bet your ass I beat every single game that I played. And now the reason why why I place study hall third, I feel like sometimes it can be hit or miss depending on the teacher that you have. I feel like it could be like that for any class, but for this one, it's either really good or just absolutely terrible. Because if your teacher's an op, you're not going to be able to play games. Sometimes my teachers would pull up LAN school, which basically what it was, it would watch over everybody's screen. But whenever that would happen, I would just get all my homework done so I didn't have to do it later. Honestly, the worst part about school's gotta be homework. So the fact that I can just get that done early clutches up. And if I had some spare time, I would just knock right out. Next on our list, we got business. And now the reason why I placed this one fourth is because it's actually useful. These kinds of classes teach you how to manage money, stocks, and other investments you can make, and how to run a business. These were the best classes I took in high school, honestly. Because all the other classes just don't apply to me. Like, when am I ever going to use math again? I'm a fucking YouTube. But taking some of these classes in school just gave me a basic understanding of all this stuff. So I'm not completely clueless when I get out into the real world. Next on the list, we got cooking classes. I don't know how many of you had to take a cooking class in high school. I never did. And now I have no idea how to cook. I know how to cook maybe 1 or 2 different things. But when I move out on my own, I'm gonna be I'm gonna have to eat TV dinners every other night. So just having that knowledge is so useful, especially if somebody in your family can't really teach you. Because as somebody who almost set their house on fire with microwave mac and cheese, I can say that cooking is a skill you need to know in your life. Trust me. Next on the list, we got driver's ed. And now tell me not, driver's ed is so fucking boring. Oh my god, like this class is insufferable. So as unfortunate as it is, it's information you really need to know. Because again, you gotta drive every day. It's just something you're gonna have to know. Now in my case, I chose not to take driver's ed at my school. So instead, I had to sit there for 6 hours on a Saturday. And I had to do this for 6 weeks. I had to watch a bunch of boring ass videos, go through shitty lectures, and it was quite the crew as well. Obviously, that didn't help one bit. There was one dude on the staff that was a heavy smoker. His voice sounded like his lungs were just about to collapse any second.
Alright, welcome to the class. I've been smoking for 40 years.
Like deadass, the entire building smelled like cigarette smoke. Next on the list, we got wood shop. Now, why I place this one 7th? Although wood shop is dope as fuck, you could use a saw, you can make anything you want out of wood. Honestly, that's really it. There's not much more than that. But the idea of it is still kind of cool though. What I've heard from other people's experiences, they usually ask them to make a table or a birdhouse. But I'm gonna be honest though, if I was tasked with making a fucking birdhouse, it would be the shittiest birdhouse from the trenches. It would look like it survived a shooting in O Block, got ran over by a few cars, sitting in sewage for weeks, and we are 100% not graduating school with this. This shit's some straight ass. I'm sure we've all had that intrusive thought, yo, what if I just cut my finger off with a languages? They say that French and Spanish are the most romantic languages in the world. Maybe if I learn them, I can finally get some action. I place this 8th because learning a language can be useful, but bro, you can literally just use Duolingo. And you can work at your own pace, so taking an entire class on it is just straight ass compared to Duolingo. The fact that you're graded on it makes me not want to learn it at all. And most schools are like, you're either taking Spanish or French, like there's no other option. And if you could pick the language, that would be cool, because I really need to tap in with my culture more. I'm downloading Duolingo after this video, and I'm learning Italian, swear to God. I'm going to Italy in a few years. I can't go there and just be absolutely clueless. I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot. Like, I at least gotta know something, bro. Next on the list, we got science. Now, I gotta say, science was one of the most fun base subjects I've been in. There's like 4 base subjects, and science is the best out of all of them, I gotta say. Because some of the experiments that you would do were cool. In shit like biology, it was just lame as shit, I'm not gonna lie. I had to study bacteria in a microscope. That was the lamest thing I've ever done. But in classes like chemistry, there was this experiment with fire that we did. That was cool as fuck. Next on the list, we got tech classes. Now, most tech classes aren't bad, but some of them were just boring as shit. Now, my tech instructor was the biggest meme at my school, bro. Like, everybody would make fun of him. This motherfucker put himself in front of a green screen. This dude was like running next to a cheetah, and then he put himself behind a dance floor and just started dancing. And anytime we had a problem with our computer, this dude would tell us to power refresh our computer, like that was gonna do anything. And then he one day taught us about browser history. I mean, that one came in handy for when I was in middle school, for sure. Like, come come on, bro. You didn't have to spend a whole class teaching that. Next on the list, we got art. Now, in most cases, art can be a really relaxing class. I can't draw for shit. That's why it's as low as it is. Like, you get a teacher with a stick up their ass that cares so much about every little detail in your art. That just ruins the class, in my personal opinion. Like, my 4th grade art teacher deadass just grabbed my artwork and just threw it in the fucking trash when I didn't make a straight line. Like, alright, bro, it's not that serious. Next on the list, we got music. Same type of deal. I have no idea how to play an instrument. I'm sure everybody in elementary school had to play a recorder. That's how it always went. And when it was my turn to go, I would just completely f it up. There was absolutely no saving me whatsoever. And then the teacher would just be like,
Burdie, look at the music.
Telling me to look at the music is not gonna magically make me play any better. Like, what is he saying? But yeah, I can't play an instrument if my life depended on it, but I love listening to music. But as school went on for me, music kind of got better because it became more about learning about artists, and I thought that shit was kind of cool. Like, I got to sit in class and learn about Michael Jackson for a full hour. Like, that's actually dope. That beats most of these subjects, honestly. But next up on the list, we got public speaking. Now, I hate this shit with all my guts, bro. The amount of presentations you gotta do in this class is crazy. I just hate presenting to begin with. Even though this YouTube video is going to be seen by thousands of people, I can pre-make it. But for a presentation, shit's gotta be on the spot, so obviously I'm gonna be a lot more nervous. And especially if it's about a topic I don't give a shit about. I'm not trying to do a speech on King Henry the 55th, bro. No one's gonna even pay attention anyways. Half the class is gonna be dead asleep, bro. Nobody cares, I promise you. But if you are in some sort of public speaking class and you gotta present, no one's gonna remember your presentation. Unless you do a backflip and then start hitting goofy ass dances in the middle of the class. If you just do a normal ass presentation, nobody's gonna remember. What I would do is I would write an entire script like I'm recording a YouTube video, and I would get through these no problem. Although every time I did that, the teacher would bitch at me and be like, no notes allowed. I mean, I really didn't give a shit. I just did it anyway. But these next classes, these are like bottom of the barrel. These are the worst of the worst, bro. If you're in any of these classes, I'm praying for you. These suck so bad. History. History is so boring. I never wanted to knock out more in a class in my entire life. I mean, some parts of history, okay, I could sit through. It's not that big of a deal. But 1 year in school, I had to learn about caveman. Like, I couldn't give any less of a shit, dude. And it was for the entire year as well. Like, I'm not learning about caveman, dude. This is so boring. Like, yeah, cool, they invented fire. Like, what else do I gotta know? And how do you talk about that subject matter for the entire year? If I had to teach that for an entire year, I would just quit my job. I'm resigning today. I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I don't care how fucking broke I am. And every year I would get a big ass textbook. Then the teacher would just walk around, just start slamming it on people's desks and shit. Like, I could do a goddamn dumbbell curl with that thing. But the fact I would have to lug around a textbook with me is insane. Oh yeah, and by the way, we had computers. Yeah, we did. But I still had to use a textbook anyway. The second worst class has got to be math. All right, a lot of you definitely saw this coming. I mean, I'm really bad at math, me personally. Every test I failed in school was a math test, so it doesn't exactly surprise me. I mean, the fact that I'm walking into class and just staring at hieroglyphics on the board is already a bad start. And honestly, bro, math after middle school is so useless. Like, what are you gonna do with fucking geometry, bro? If it's not in your career path in the slightest, it's just not useful at all. I left high school, I passed geometry, calculus, all these fucking classes. I could not tell you how to do them anymore. I don't know. And I absolutely hated those speed math tests. That was the most anxiety-inducing thing ever. Imagine giving a first grader a sheet of addition problems and saying, fill this out. You got 30 seconds. Like, I swear to God, the amount of stress I felt like I was about to, like, defuse a bomb or some shit. But for math, it's like you gotta be a math person, I guess. And for those people, it just comes easy for them. And for the rest of us, this shit's like fucking building a rocket. Like, it's just not happening. And the worst class, I gotta say, by far, is English. Yeah, seriously, I couldn't give any less of a fuck about the most insignificant details in a book. Like, the author making a carpet blue has no significance to the meaning of the story. Well, it's that time of year again, and rent is due. Back to school outfits. A lot of people really are prideful of what they wear on the first day of school. For some people, it's like a fashion show. Like, you walk in and everybody's got their best outfit on. Like, if I was going back to my college this year, I can 100% guarantee you that there's gonna be one person that at least pulls some crazy ass fit out of the closet. When I was going back, I did not care what I wore back to school. Well, to an extent, of course, because I'm not pulling up in a Cheetos 3D hoodie. Absolutely not. But I didn't wear anything crazy. I wore like the most generic outfit you can think of. I'm not the exact person that should be speaking on this topic, but here we are. All right, so let's start with the backpack. So I think this is an important pick because, well, you're stuck with that shit all year. So picking a backpack, it's like a draft pick. Once you get it, you're stuck with it for the year. I mean, unless you really want to get a new one. I never did, but in some scenarios, I probably should have got a new one. I just remember one year in elementary school, I picked like some ugly ass backpack. So yeah, when you're shopping for your back to school stuff, your 10 folders or whatever the hell they make you get. So when you pick a backpack, just don't pick a flashy one, bro. You don't want to flash bang the entire school. Pick one that's, you know, simple, a very sleek design. And also don't get a backpack with like a bunch of compartments and that's super hefty looking. Because a lot of the times when I picked a backpack, I'm like, damn, bro, I look like a nerd carrying around this big ass fucking boulder on my back. I would bring everything that I had that was school supplies. I don't know why. I couldn't just leave shit home some days. And of course, I was carrying around this big ass trapper keeper on my backpack too. So I was just doing too much. Like, you shouldn't have to carry around all that stuff with you all the time. And now for the shoes. Like, everybody is locked in on shoe game nowadays, so I feel like it's pretty important. Do not wear these shoes, especially beat up Air Forces. The whole point of Air Forces is the simple look. If there's dirt on it, they're creased to shit. I don't know why the hell you're wearing them. It just defeats the entire purpose. Like, if they're a little bit beat up, okay. If they're like muddy as hell, they're carrying around dirt with them, why the hell are you wearing them? I don't know. The past couple of years I went to college, I don't know how many times I saw people with beat up Air Forces. It's wild. It's like a record amount, either beat up Air Forces or Lightning McQueen Crocs or Shrek Crocs. Please don't wear these. So first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. Crocs are overrated. I had to say it. I'm sorry. In my opinion, I don't know, they kind of just look goofy. I just don't see the vision with these. These are the types of shoes I would wear in like elementary school. And especially the Shrocs. Holy hell, these are ugly. At least I could give that to the Lightning McQueen Crocs. You know, they're not ugly. But the Shrocs, bro, I don't know why the shoe has a nose, but it does. Yeezy foam runners. I'm sorry, I had to say it. They're overrated. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure they are pretty comfortable. All right, I will say that. But the design just looks goofy. Like, I'm sorry, I can't wear this. And not only that, a lot of these shoes are super expensive too. I remember a friend of mine wanted some Lightning McQueen Crocs, and those Johns were $200. What the fuck? These Crocs are not $200 worth. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. In my opinion, I don't know, I just can't see myself wearing Crocs either. Like, the overall design of Crocs, I don't know, I just don't like it. Like, I wouldn't really wear Crocs unless I was like at the beach or something. And I 100% did have a Croc era. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I don't know, I kind of just grew out of liking them. But if you wear Crocs, you do you, I guess. I'm not gonna hate. Anyways, on to the shirt. You know, I think the shirt is an important part of the outfit because just by somebody looking at your shirt, it's kind of like their first impression of you without talking to you, if that makes sense. That's why what you wear is important. You know, you got to make sure you're proud of what you're wearing. And of course, at home, you could probably get away with wearing some goofy ass shit or if you're around your friends. But when you enter school, it's a completely different environment. So you really got to shape up the fit. All right. So if you're going to high school, leave this goddamn creeper hoodie in the past. All right. Please don't bring it. Like, I used to wear this thing and I just felt like a cornball looking back. Not in high school, but I think I was in elementary or middle school. It was an interesting phase of my life, I will say. There's just some hoodies and shirts you gotta leave in the past. Like 3D hoodies, leave those behind. I've never seen somebody glaze Cheetos this hard to the point where they'll wear a Cheetos hoodie and the Cheetos sweatpants to match. That is just wild. Also, do not wear shirts like this. Yeah, just leave that one in the closet, bro. We got the classic shit like, I pause my game to be here. And I've seen people actually wear shirts like that before. I guess he had to personally let everybody know that he had his Wii paused at home and he pulled up to school right after. It just shows the true dedication of this individual. Now, of course, when it gets colder out, you know, you're gonna have to wear hoodies. And one of the most important things I have to say, and I can't believe I have to say this, do not wear that one anime hoodie. community. Just don't wear it. Please, just for everybody else's sake, do not wear that shit. On a few occasions, I've seen people wear that when I was in high school, and it was just embarrassing. It was. I've never felt more secondhand embarrassment in my entire life. But now for the pants, I think it's important to start with the fact that you should never sag your pants. I don't know why people do this. I don't know what the hype is around sagging your pants, but people literally just walk around with their underwear out, bro. It's weird as hell. And don't get me started on the ATL jeans too. I don't know how people wear jeans that are this skin tight. And honestly, if I was wearing these, I would just be waddling around, bro. And I wouldn't be able to move. Like, it would just feel so weird to walk. The Atlanta skinny jeans, I don't know how a human can walk around in these and feel comfortable. But do not wear mismatching pants either. Like, if your shirt's red, do not wear green pants, bro, or you're gonna look like a Christmas tree. And I used to rep fits like that all the time, and I don't know, I just looked so stupid. The whole point of an outfit is that it's supposed to match. Like, if you wear a bunch of colors, like, it's just gonna look weird. If it's the middle of the winter, do not wear shorts, bro. I was that kid, all right? I'm speaking from experience. People are gonna look at you funny. And same thing if you wear, like, all these coats in the summer. Like, I don't get the hype of wearing this many coats. Now let's talk about accessories. You know, some people like to wear a watch, you know, which is cool. Some people like to wear bracelets and all that stuff. And I think that's cool. But some people pull up to school with, like, the weirdest accessories on. I don't get it. Like, one time it wasn't even Halloween, and this person pulled up in, like, a Harry Potter cape. Like, there's a time and a place for everything. And I don't know why people pull up wearing fursuits either. You know, I personally think it's weird, but I'm not gonna hate on somebody for doing that in their free time, whatever. But it's another thing if you pull up to school wearing the suit, you're barking on all fours. That shit's just crazy to me, bro. Some people walked around with, like, a tail on, cat ears. It's wild. Yeah, bro, you gotta keep that shit at home, big dog. I'm not trying to see that. Thankfully, I never seen anything like that at college, but yeah, in high school, I definitely have. And